Good day, everyone, and thank you very much for having me. So, my research focused on the connection between community conservation and waste management. And for this case, I actually chose two nature reserves, which are managed by the City of Cape Town. And those were namely Volgat Nature Reserve, which is found around Mitchell's Plain, and Witzen's Aquifer Nature Reserve, which is found in a different area. It's found in Atlantis. Yes, it's found in Atlantis. So, the research was on addressing the pressing issue of illegal dumping and littering, right? Which is something that both of these nature reserves were experiencing. So the study highlighted the challenges these reserves face due to nearby residential areas. So these reserves were in close proximity to residential areas, and the residential areas were formal and informal. So one, you might have the informal, which is the shacks, where they don't have proper waste management services. Sometimes they might have bags, but they just don't have anything more than that. So they struggle with their waste. And then you have the townships, which is the RDP houses, which sometimes you might have a house that is supposed to accommodate two people or three, and now it ends up accommodating more than that. So it puts a lot of pressure on the waste management services. So now you have both of those areas, which is the formal and informal, unexpectedly contributing to waste problems, which harms the environment, affecting biodiversity in those protected areas. So the protected areas is the nature reserve that I mentioned, Volgat and Witzen's Aquifer Nature Reserve. So the aim of the study, right, was to explore how these communities impact the reserves and how collaborative efforts can improve waste management. So how we can have the communities and also the nature reserve authorities working together, like being the A team. So the research actually involves surveys from local residents to understand their social economic impact on the reserves and their awareness on the conservation efforts. So what I'll do is I'm going to mention a few key findings, which I think they're very important. I'm not going to mention everything. So the key findings reveal that many residents were unaware of the nature reserves existence. So some of the nature reserves, they're unfenced, right? So a lot of residents assume that the nature reserve was just open land, nothing else, just open land. So that's why it was easy for them to actually just illegally dump. And they actually didn't know the environmental significance. And if you think about it, if you don't know something, it's very hard for you to respect it, right? So they didn't know that it's a nature reserve. So therefore, they didn't understand the environmental significance. Additionally, the study found that reserve management is often reactive rather than proactive, right? So the nature reserve management waits for something to happen before they go to the communities. They don't actually go to the communities and just try and forge the relationship. For example, if there's, let's say they have fire issues, then they'll start going. They don't go before the fire even happens. So the one of the issues was that. So the research emphasized the necessity for nature reserves to adopt proactive engagement strategies, right? Which is reaching out to communities rather than waiting for them to act out and then you can go, right? And what lastly, one of the key findings, which I think they're very important, individuals with high education levels frequently had less awareness about the nature reserve, which was very shocking. So because everyone would assume if you are highly educated, you should know about all these environmental issues and environmental spaces. But however, for this study, we realized that just because we realized that academic knowledge doesn't always equate to environmental understanding. So, because we had other people who were like, oh, I live right behind that place, but they didn't know if that is a nature reserve. So, that's what we also picked up. Okay, to finalize or to before I wait, okay, to finalize is that the research underscores the importance of involving local communities, right, in conservation strategies. You know, to have a people to adopt a people-centered approach rather than the top-bottom approach, whereby you have the top management making all those decisions, same decision that affects the communities, right? So we need to have a people-centered approach whereby you have the nature reserves objectives aligned with the community's needs so that we can have a common ground where the nature reserves and the residents can work together so that we transform conservation into a collective responsibility rather than just having a certain group that gets to safeguard the local natural spaces. Thank you.